Everyone, welcome back. I am Evangel from capacitybay.org and I am your instructor for today's lesson. In our previous session, we stopped at forgetting the colon when looping through an entire list. In this session, we'll continue from making numerical lists when looping through an entire list. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Many reasons exist to store a set of numbers. For example, you need to keep track of the positions of each character in a game, and you might want to keep track of a player's high scores as well. In visualizations, you will almost always work with sets of numbers. Lists are ideal for storing sets of numbers, and Python provides a variety of tools to help you work efficiently with a list of numbers. Once you understand how to use the tools effectively, your code will work well, even when your lists contain millions of items. So now let's look into using the range function. Python's range function makes it easy to generate a series of numbers. For example, you can use the range function to print a series of numbers. Let's go through an example like this. Okay. So we are using the for loop. For value in range. This is how to use the range function. Now, this range is, the normal definition of range is like from this point to this point. So here we are using a set of numbers. So we're trying to say from 1 to 4. We want to print out 1, 2, 3, 4. But in Python, if you put your range in the range function, you start from the first number. If you're starting from 0, you write 0. If you're starting from 1, you write 1. So you use 1, comma, which you're writing here. Then you write the number after the last number that you want to print out. And the last number we want to print out here is 4. So we're going to use 5. So remember to use our colon. So for value in range 1, 5, we would say print value. Like I said, you can use anything, it must not necessarily be value, it can be I, it can be A, but we're using value for our example today. So we would save our work. Let's save it as range.py. So let's run this. As you can see, it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, which are the values in our range. So on to the next. Let's look into using range to make a list of numbers. If you want to make a list of numbers, you can convert the results of range directly into a list using the list function. When you wrap lists around a call to the range function, the output will be a list of numbers. In the example in the previous session, this one we just did, we simply printed out a series of numbers. We can use list to convert the same set of numbers into a list. So we want to make it a list, not just to write down, we want it to be in a list. So what are we going to do? This is what we're going to do now. So basically put the hashtag function. Sorry, I said hashtag function, the hashtag. So okay, this one, say numbers is equals to list range. We're given our range now. We'll put another bracket for the range. let's say we want to print from 1 to 5, so that's 1 comma 6. Then go enter. You don't put the colon because it's not a for loop, so we're just using range to make a list of numbers. You say print numbers. So let's try this out. We'll see that will work. Run module. As you can see, it prints it in a list. So we're trying to put the range, okay, from this point to this point, from this number to this number. So we're saying from 1 to 5. We want to print 1 to 5 now, so we're putting it in a list. So we can also use the range function to tell Python to skip members in a given range. Sorry, excuse me. So, sorry for the break in transmission. We can also use the range function to tell Python to skip numbers in a given range. So let's say from like 2 to 11, we want to skip 2 numbers. So after these 2, it will skip, and then print, it will skip and print. So it's like it will skip 1 and go to the next, skip 1 and print the next. So this is what we're going to do. We say we want to print, okay, let's say 2 to 10. We want to print the numbers between 1 and 10. So this is what we're going to do. We'll say, let's call it even numbers. Even numbers is equals to list range. So the number we're starting from 2. The number we are ending at 11. And the numbers we want to be skipping, so we'll skip. So it will count 1 to print, 1 to print. So that's 2. So we'll say what? Print even numbers. Alright. Okay, sorry, that was a mistake. So we save 1. So this starts from 2 and ends at the number before the number we wrote in our code, which is 11. So 2, it will skip and go to the next one, 4, showing that it is skipping. After it skips the first one, it goes to the next one. So on to the next. So you can create almost any set of numbers you want using the range function. For example, you can do multiplication, you can do squares of numbers. If you have questions concerning that, you can just drop them in the comment section. So let's go straight to, okay, now let's just look at it before we actually end the session for today. Let's look into it. So we want to look into making a list of numbers with range, where we would have the squares. So like I said, you can create almost any set of numbers you want to using the range function. For example, consider how you might make a list of the first 10 square numbers. That is the square of each integer from 1 to 10. In Python, 2 asterisks represents the exponents. It represents exponents. So this is how you would put it. So we'll say squares is equals to, put the list box, we enter, say 4. Here we're going to use the for loop for value in range. What's our range? We know our range 1, 11, because we're saying 1 to 10. Then use our colon. You see, square that box we created. This box is the list. We created an empty list. Now we're going to fill it in. Square is equals to value 2. Okay, then we'll now say square So, okay, before I continue, let me briefly just explain this before we end our class for today. This square is another variable I created to house the value of this value, any number that is between 1 to 10 raised to power 2. So now we're going to append it into the list, the empty list called squares. So we say squares dot append, right? Square. So now we say what? Enter. Print squares. So let's run it and see what it gives us. If you can see, 1 square is 9, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, up till the 10th number. So that's all we have for today. We would continue with simple statistics with a list of numbers in our next session. So don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell for more videos, and I will see you in our next session. Bye.